Is it possible that complaining can help you feel better? Let's explain that. Hey everyone, and welcome to Things Explained. Most of us know someone who is always complaining, but does it actually help? Well, there's some sources that say complaining is helpful, and others that say it's destructive. Let's get to the bottom of this. Well, a major issue is that the two are talking about different types of complaining. Complaining can vary based on the tone, negative or neutral, as well as the intent, whether it's descriptive, whether it's seeking sympathy, or seeking for action. Think of the typical bedtime scenario of a toddler. They might be a little cranky and really don't want to go to bed. They really don't want to do anything actually, but they just fuss and fuss with no clear purpose. First one is fussing, which is negative and solely descriptive. This type of complaining just spews negativity around for no apparent reason, and really just makes everyone upset. I'm allergic to everything, which makes it hard to eat out. One time I was eating with my lab group at a place on campus, and I asked the server about the gluten-freeness of their dishes. She at least attempted to act like she understood me, but lo and behold, the next day I woke up 3/4 of the way to dead. There was nothing I could do now. Everybody I talked to for the next 2 weeks knew about the bitterness and negativity I had towards that place. This brings us to the next type of complaining, moaning, which is still negative, but it's seeking for sympathy. Now the only problem with moaning is that it really isn't satisfying. The negativity of it drives people away and makes it so they don't actually give you the sympathy that you want. The problem with moaning is that it isn't satisfying, so you feel the need to keep doing it, looking for something to fill a bitter hole inside your heart. Now do a Google image search for the word ref. On the very first page you'll get into the next type of complaining, whining. This type of complaining is negative, but it does have a clear intention. Now close your eyes and look back to the last time you saw an NBA ref change the call because a player whined. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't alive then, if it did happen. This definition of whining differs in that it actually has a specific purpose. That's the thing about whining, we do it because we actually want something changed, and oftentimes it may need to be changed. But we complain about it in a rude and degrading manner, just like a pro athlete. I won't spend much time on the next one because it's really not all that complex, but expression, which is neutral in tone and descriptive. A good example of this is 45 seconds ago when I told you that I'm allergic to everything. I wasn't really fishing for sympathy or anything like that, but I also wasn't really negative about it, because I have the benefit of rehearsing it. It's just kind of there. It's not really helpful, it's really not hurting anything, so don't try and label this kind of thing as something that it isn't, or you'll end up making unnecessary enemies. The next time is grieving, which is neutral in tone, but is seeking for sympathy again. This can be for major things or minor things, and it's actually healthy and an important part of life. Everyone is going to face major obstacles like the death of a friend. If you're someone who doesn't really like to complain, don't think of this as included in that stereotype. Sympathy is real, and that helps us to move on. The problem is when we turn grieving into moaning, where bitterness and negativity comes in and pushes people away from you. The last kind is another healthy form of complaining. A couple weeks ago I was on a trip, and due to some mumbo jumbo that who knows can explain, my return flight ended up being cancelled. If I was someone who wouldn't complain no matter what, I would have just went on with my life and paid my way out of it. This is what I call a dispute. This again has a neutral tone, but a very specific intention. I imagine most of you probably would have done the same thing because we like to keep our own money. But imagine if it were a smaller thing, like if someone says something degrading or harassing. Would you approach it in the same way? Now think of the worst time in your life, whatever that means to you. We'll say that is a 1. We'll say the best time in your life is a 10. What would you rate where your life is right now? I'm guessing it's somewhere in the middle. Now think of the ways your attitude differed between each of these times. I found that when things are a 1, I really don't have the energy to waste time on unfruitful complaining. But when life is a 5, you bet I do. Notice that there's a subtle difference between each type of complaining, and the tone and the intention are key. Next time you catch yourself whining or moaning, consider changing your outlook. It's not that you shouldn't look for sympathy or change in wrongdoing, but it's vital for the sake of your own happiness that you do so without the negative attitude. One last thing, you know how I mentioned the 2 types of healthy complaining? Psychologists have actually identified that people who don't do either of these are actually hurting themselves. I think it comes down to our procrastinator's mentality, that we want to put off addressing things, but it ends up bursting out in an unhealthy way. So there you have it. What are some helpful ways you found to get things off your chest in a healthy manner? Leave a comment below. If you like what you saw, check out my most recent video here. If you want to be notified every Thursday when I release a new video, click here to subscribe. If you found anything in this video helpful, be sure to share with your friends.